Hi, I'm Governor Bob Ehrlich. D-Day, June 6, 1944, changed the course of world history. Now you have an opportunity to sit back, study, learn, and think critically about the events that led up to this day and the events that unfolded on this day that changed world history. Thanks for being part of the experience.
We didn't realize how big this was going to be.
There was a tremendous armada out there, over 5,000 ships.
And the sky filled with airplanes, and they were all our airplanes.
We had a mission to do, and then we just started.
Well, down at Omaha Beach, those poor fellas really took a beating.
I went up the beach and fell flat on a landmine.
You had to get off the beach. People were yelling, "Get off of the beach."
There for a while, we was losing so many men we weren't getting replacements.
People just had battle fatigue. They couldn't take anymore.
The beach was just full of dead people and
seeing people being killed, and something you never got over with.
War is hell. In fact, it's worse than hell.
There was 85 of us that left Crisfield, and there's only 3 of us left now.
And it had to be done, and the people that did it were absolutely out of this world.
In 1939, Europe had been engulfed in a war that many Americans believed their nation could and should avoid. But when the United States was swept into that war 2 years later, it was almost too late to salvage freedom from those who craved to destroy it. By then, Germany had overrun most of Europe, and human liberty in the occupied nations had vanished, to be replaced by tyranny and oppression on an unprecedented scale. The only way to bring down the Nazis and free the oppressed peoples of Europe was by force, and it had taken years for the Allies to build their military forces to defeat Germany. By June 1944, they were ready. Somewhere along the coast of German-occupied Western Europe, American, British, and Canadian troops must surge ashore to win a beachhead and begin the liberation of Europe. The invasion would finally come on June 6, 1944, a date recognized forever since simply as D-Day. It would be launched against the region of northern France known as Normandy, a place that most Americans knew nothing of and few had ever seen. The D-Day invasion was the culmination of years of planning and the unwavering resolve of its participants that the Allies' cause was so essential that defeat was unthinkable. What started on D-Day ended 11 months later when the cruel repression carried out throughout Europe was entirely eradicated. Since the birth of our republic, Maryland soldiers have played a crucial role in all of America's wars. D-Day was no exception. Maryland soldiers, sailors, and airmen joined in the Normandy invasion by land, sea, and air. The 29th Infantry Division, drawn primarily from Maryland and Virginia, was one of 5 U.S. divisions that participated in the initial assault on D-Day and suffered heavy casualties on Omaha Beach, cracking the German defenses that Hitler had declared unbreakable. Next, you will hear from some of the Marylanders who participated in the D-Day invasion. And when you do, remember that they gave the best years of their lives selflessly so that freedom would prevail against those who wished to destroy it. We must honor and thank them for their service and remember them always.
I was 18 years old, knew everything, and so I decided to enlist in the Navy.
Then I got an appointment. I was at Boston Latin School at the time. I got an appointment at West Point and went to West Point and graduated in the class of January '43.
I was a Southern farm boy, as happy as could be.
Well, I had enlisted in the National Guard in 1940 in the 5th Regiment Army when I was 16 because my friends had gone in. It was a social affair. We got $1 a night. We could spend that.
My future wife was Irene Orr. I think she was 16 at the time. And, we went together until I went to, shipped overseas or went to Fort Meade.
I went in the Army on September 21st, 1940. It was the only way to get some money at that time. We were going through a depression.
Because there was no work, and it was hard times. And with no work around, I figured, well, I'll join the service and make out allotment and send to my mother. We drew $21 a month. We had signed papers to be discharged February the 3rd, and we was on our way home. And someone turned the radio on, and they said Pearl Harbor had been bombed. And the captain says, forget about it.
With that, we get an order that we were to report back to our Brooklyn Navy Yard. They load us on tankers and other ships like that, and we put us out in convoys, and off we head for England.
We went up to New York, got on the Queen Mary. Was it 12 or 15,000 people on the ship? Our bunks were built in a swimming pool. That's how crowded it was.
We didn't know where we was going until we got a couple about a day out of Scotland. Maybe not a day, and they told us we was going to land in Scotland.
Ever since Lindbergh flew, I wanted to fly. There they decided, pretty much depending on your height, as to what you're either going to be a fighter pilot or a bomber pilot.
And they were filling the 29th Division up, and I was put in anti-tank company of the 175th Infantry Regiment.
The 29th had a pretty good idea in early '44 that we were going to be taking part in it. And they had picked 5 divisions. We didn't know who the other people were, but we knew the 29th was to be active in it. And so we were ready for it.
I was very anxious and very scared both. I didn't know what to expect, but I was patriotic. I hadn't volunteered for the service, but after I was in, I had a job to do, and I was going to do it to the best of my ability.
So the night before, the skipper came down, called us together, and then he dropped this on us. He told us that we would be in the invasion and that we'd be leading it. And you could kind of feel, you get that feeling. You get a feeling, I can't tell you exactly what it is, but your stomach, everything changes a little bit. You get a little more serious. Then you realize you're not over there to sightsee, okay? Oh, what a sight. You just couldn't believe it. I mean, somebody's telling you, but we didn't know until we got out there to see how big it was. There were troops landing. There were airplanes going over. There were the ships. And there were the other ones coming in, firing, going in and firing. And there was something just, everything was going on. The Rangers were going in.
You're not afraid anymore because you know you're going to do it, you just do it.
Praying the whole length from the time we got across the channel until we jumped with 2 20-pound satchels of TNT. The parachute that we used in those days opened in 175 feet. And that gave us 125 feet to see where we were going to land, but at night you can't see. So all you have to do is hope and pray that you land in the right place.